What's up, guys? Hi and welcome to Uncle Scott's Kitchen. Today we're going to take a look at this guy. This is a Ninja 4-quart air fryer. Supposedly offers guilt-free fried food. Guilt-free. We'll find out about that if my wife sees me take a second helping of something we're going to cook today. I'm down in the basement kitchen, not the fancy kitchen upstairs. Another word for the basement down here is man cave. And if you got a man cave with sports jerseys and TVs and arcade games and pool tables and what have you, you got to have a way to crank out kind of sports bar type food. Around here, you've probably seen me review Tefal, Cuisinart, Phillips, Fry Daddies, Chef Man, lots of fryers around here. Some of them are deep fryers and some of them are air fryers. This is an air fryer and it's supposed to produce delicious food without using a whole lot of oil. We'll see. What we're going to do is get this thing opened up. And I've got some chicken wings ready to go over here. And we're going to cook some wings and maybe some tots and other foods and see if this Ninja performs and is a good air fryer for your money. Who knows? But we are going to find out. The quick start guide, instruction manual. These air fryers are usually pretty simple. Let's hope this one is as well. And here it is, the Ninja. Okay, so I'm going to take a quick peek at the old instruction manual. I'll probably have to wash the basket. Do that real quick. We'll plug this guy in and then we'll do some chicken wings and see how this thing performs. Let's jump in and get started. Okay, so I got the basket and the crisper tray washed and ready to go. You know, I was just thinking, all these references to guilt-free fried food, I rarely feel guilty for eating anything. I was thinking maybe what they should put on the box is slight chance your wife won't nag you quite as much if you eat too much food out of this fryer versus a deep fryer. Then again, that might not fit on the box. Okay, so let's cook some chicken wings. Gonna get this guy, I'm gonna stick it over on the stove just for convenience purposes. And one thing I'm interested in seeing with this 4-quart fryer is it going to be big enough for an entire order of chicken wings? And when I say an order of chicken wings, generally speaking, in my mind, that means 4 drumettes, drumsticks, and 4 of the flats. So at least 8 chicken wings, kind of what you would get in a sports bar. And if you're going to be running the wing machine in your basement man cave, you need to be able to crank out an order of wings in each batch. So let's check that out and see. Now I'm going to be using raw chicken here, so I'm going to glove up real quick. And what I have got is, if I can find it, I got a tablespoon of peanut oil and some spices I mixed up. Primarily salt and pepper, but I put a little rosemary, some paprika, shake of garlic powder, and a couple other things from the spice drawer in there. So we'll see if that gives the wings a little bit of flavor. So what I'm using is a Kirkland Costco pack of party wings. And what I want to do here is make sure these guys are really nice and dry as much as possible. Help them crisp up a little bit. Okay, so I've got the wings dried off, and what I'm going to do is put them in a bowl. I'm going to add a tablespoon of peanut oil. So obviously much less fat than deep frying. Make sure those get coated very well. I'm going to take my spice mix. Again, make sure everything gets coated nicely. And now I'm going to see how many of these guys will fit in the old basket here. And you don't want your food touching very much. Like the old AC/DC touch too much song. You don't want much touching with your chicken wings here. Let's see if I can finagle just a little bit. I think I can get them all in. Okay, it's really tight and they're probably a little bit crowded. But I did get the entire Costco pack of wings. In. We'll see how they do here in just a second. Get rid of the thermonuclear waste here. The power's on. Now let's see, temp. I'm gonna go 400. And time. Let's go 12 minutes. And there we go. Okay, timer has gone off. Let's see how they're looking. Now I temp those guys with the Thermopin 1 and everything is up to temperature. I'm going to give them just a couple more minutes to maybe crisp up that outside just a little bit. Okay, so I got some Frank's Red Hot buffalo wing sauce. Heated that up in the microwave and let's see how these wings look. Pretty good looking wings. And if this is not too hot, it's actually pretty hot. Let's get some of these guys out. And do some just with the spice rub and then some in the sauce. They look very hot. I'm going to wait just a moment before I tuck in. Okay, so that was remarkably easy for some absolutely delicious chicken wings here in my basement. I opened the guy up, the Ninja up, washed that basket. I had my chicken ready to go, and within half an hour, I had pretty much sports bar quality wings here in my home man cave. So I like that. Next up, let's choose a recipe from the included recipe booklet with this Ninja. You know, one of the benefits and one of the features that's really highly touted on these air fryers is the ability to cook with less oil than you might with some other cooking methods. One way they do that is by adding bacon. Let's make these Brussels sprouts with bacon. The recipe only calls for 1 tablespoon of olive oil. However, 5 slices of bacon. So that's definitely one way to reduce cooking with oil if you substitute bacon for it. Do I feel bad? No, I do not, because it clearly says on the box, guilt-free fried food. Okay, so let's jump in and get these Brussels sprouts cleaned and prepped. The recipe calls for 1 pound of Brussels sprouts cut in half. Lots of times I remove some of those kind of tougher outer leaves. 5 strips of uncooked bacon in 1/8 inch pieces. Then 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of black pepper, 4 teaspoons of kosher salt, and 1 tablespoon of olive oil. So we have really cut down on the use of oil in this recipe. However, we are adding 5 pieces of bacon. I really do like that. Now, growing up, I always thought I hated Brussels sprouts because You know, my parents sent me to Sunday school, they sent me to vacation Bible school in the summer, but I also got a lot of my knowledge growing up from shows like The Brady Bunch, Happy Days, maybe a little Sanford and Son. But I learned from the kids on The Brady Bunch and people on Happy Days that Brussels sprouts were terrible. I hated Brussels sprouts. You know what though? I had never tried one until I got into my 30s, tried a roasted Brussels sprout and absolutely loved Brussels sprouts. So in many ways, the Brady Bunch was very instructional. I learned not to put a cursed tiki doll around my neck when vacationing in Hawaii, never wander off on a trip to the Grand Canyons. But when it comes to Brussels sprouts, completely wrong. I absolutely love roasted Brussels sprouts these days. Okay, for air fryer Brussels sprouts, I think they're pretty good. I'm not sure they're any better than the roasted Brussels sprouts we cook in the oven. Once we cook in the oven, we also use more oil, so these are slightly drier, even with those 5 pieces of bacon. Also a very salty recipe. Normally I love a lot of salt, but very salty. One thing we usually do is put more fresh olive oil on after they come out. So that kind of defeats some of the purpose of low oil cooking with the air fryer. Infinitely better with a little bit of fresh olive oil on at the end. Okay, regarding this Brussels sprouts and bacon recipe, I brought in the expert, my wife, and what she says is there's a lot of char on the outside, but the Brussels don't seem to be done enough in the middle. I like all that char on the outside, but I think she's right. They're a little bit too crunchy in the middle. So what I might do next time is blanch those Brussels sprouts for a little bit before going in and kind of give a jump start or head start on the cooking before they get in the air fryer. Also, this recipe, man, those Brussels sprouts seem salty. And I went back and looked. I measured correctly. It calls for 4 teaspoons of salt, plus all the salt in those 5 strips of bacon, just for 1 pound of Brussels sprouts. I think it's way, way, way too salty. So if I make this recipe again, blanch the Brussels sprouts. I might dial back on the heat from 390 down to 360, give them a little bit longer to cook in the middle there, and definitely cut way, way, way back on the salt. Okay, now I want to make some kind of Cajun Creole style blackened chicken tenderloins. I'm going to check this out here. Now I know this recipe is not 100% authentic Cajun, and please don't get on me too much. This is kind of something I made up just for the air fryer. So what I used here, I made up a spice blend with 1 tablespoon of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, half tablespoon of smoked paprika, half tablespoon of regular paprika, half tablespoon of oregano, half tablespoon of thyme, 2 teaspoons of salt, 2 teaspoons of fresh ground black pepper, and then a bunch of cayenne to taste. And what I did was take a couple of these packs of Costco pre-cut chicken tenderloins. We buy lots of these and freeze them, and we just take them out of the freezer, and they're great for a quick weeknight chicken meal. And what I did was just dry those chicken tenders really well. And I made 2 batches here. The first batch, I used 1 tablespoon of oil. Used that to coat all the chicken and then dredged them in the spice mix. And then the second batch, I used 2 tablespoons of oil. And I gotta say, they were all good and we ate them all, but that first batch was a little bit drier than that second. So I think a little bit of extra oil really does help. Now, are these air fryer chicken tenders, are they air fryer good or are they really good? This is a debate here. I think the air fryer, definitely less oil, and the chicken tenders are good, but I'm not sure they're better than the regular way of cooking, either deep frying or pan frying, what have you. So you get air fryer good, and it's good enough, but sometimes the air fryer stuff, I find myself dipping it in, we actually had a bottle of Chick-fil-A sauce around here, and I dipped those, that first batch of those tenders in that Chick-fil-A sauce, and a lot better if they're a little bit more wet, if you will, either with a sauce or more oil or what have you. So air fryer, good, but is it better than regular? Salmon, right in the old healthy food air fryer wheelhouse here. For these salmon fillets, I put 2 in there, and we used a tablespoon or so of oil and some spices, mostly a little salt, pepper, onion, and garlic powder, and put those in, and I thought they browned up pretty nicely. Maybe a touch drier than some of the pan-fried salmon or oven-finished salmon we've shown in other videos around here. Often when I review a carbon steel skillet, I will cook salmon and you get really nice browning on that salmon with the carbon steel. Pretty good browning here too though, maybe a touch drier, but for air fryer fish, I thought the Ninja did a really good job. Tots, of course you got to try tater tots. This 4-quart Ninja holds 1 pound of tots, and I counted it out, yes I did, and 1 pound is roughly 50 tater tots. So you can get 50 tater tots in one batch. And here, this is going to be a common theme throughout this review. I thought the tater tots were good, every bit as good as in the oven. Are they as good as deep fried tater tots? Not 100% sure about that, but for air fryer tots, I thought they were great. Fish sticks. My son loves a good fish stick. Cooked a couple of these in the air fryer. The first one, I thought maybe it might have had a little hot spot in there because it seemed to be browning a little more than the other, but I got those moved around. And a good tip here is to move your food around every few minutes or so, if you can, and that way it'll help everything cook a little more easily. Also, this is in the manual, but also a good tip to reiterate. This is a non-stick basket and tray. Don't go digging in there with metal tongs. Use some tongs that have silicone tips, or at least plastic, so you don't scratch up that non-stick surface. French fries, got to cook some frozen fries when you review a fryer. This batch here in the Ninja, they turned out pretty nicely, and my wife and son chowed these down. Coincidentally, I am also reviewing a fried Grandpappy deep fryer concurrently here. And the day after I made these fries in the air fryer, I made a batch of fries in that fried Grandpappy and full oil fryer. And I took some to my wife and asked her to try them. And I said, what do you think about these compared to the ones last night? And she didn't know I had fried them. She said, these are way better. So she liked the deep fried a lot better. However, the air fryer, as we've noted, arguably healthier with less oil, perhaps also a little less flavor. But that's kind of the deal when you go with an air fryer versus a deep fryer. You might lose a little flavor, but you save on some calories and fat with the lack of oil. Is that a good thing or not? I don't know. Cleanup tips, even though this is a non-stick basket, what I do and what seems to work well is as soon as I'm finished cooking, I put some dish soap and some hot water in there and let it sit for a while. Even though it says non-stick, if you leave oil and gunk and fried food residue in one of these baskets, it's going to stick to that non-stick surface, believe it or not. So you definitely need to wash these things relatively soon after you're done cooking. So all in all, as air fryers go, I think this Ninja is a good one. We got good salmon, good fries, tots, good chicken. So it does a good job at air frying foods. Now, are air fried foods better than regularly cooked foods? That is a debate I am not going to settle here. But for air fried foods, I think the Ninja turned out lots of really good air fried foods. If I had a couple things I might do differently, the main thing would be to buy a bigger unit. I've got the 4-quart model. I would like to have a little bit more space, a little bit bigger batch size. So I know they make a 5.5 and they also make one with 2 baskets. So if you got counter space and you're going to get a Ninja, I would get the biggest one that you can fit in your particular space. That dual basket, the benefit there is being able to cook 2 things at the same time so they're ready at the same time. With a single fryer, you can cook chicken fingers and then fries. If you've got 2 fryers or one with 2 baskets, you can have chicken fingers and fries ready at the same time. So something to consider if you're looking at an air fryer there. Also, I want to count off just a little bit for that for the buttons on the keypad. They're a little bit clunky. Admittedly, a first world problem. But with another air fryer I use, it has a dial, and it's a little bit easier and quicker to set the temperature and the time, but admittedly not a huge problem there. But overall, I think the Ninja is a fine air fryer, and I'm going to give this guy a 7/8 thumbs up. Now, if you found this video helpful and enjoyed it and decide you're going to get one of these for yourself, a nice thing to do is use those affiliate shopping links below. Why? Because I buy all this stuff myself. I didn't receive any of this stuff as any kind of promo material. I pay for all this with my own money, and my opinions are my own. So hopefully that leads a little bit of lends a little credibility to the old reviews around here, and I hope it's appreciated. I'm not sure if everybody even knows that or not. Also, make sure you leave your questions, comments, and feedback below. Really enjoy hearing what you guys have to think and talking with you guys. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time on Uncle Scott's Kitchen.